Welcome back to Greatness Unlocked. I appreciate you spending your time with me today. If you find any value here, I humbly ask that you hit the like and subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, as we dive into one of the two final deadly sins, we will focus on wrath. The emotion of wrath is waiting for the right moment to erupt. Wrath. Wrath can be defined as those uncontrolled feelings of anger, rage, and even hate that we sometimes feel boiling inside us. It's more than just a fleeting emotion. It's a deadly sin that builds over time, much like a volcano that lies in wait beneath the surface, ready to unleash its fury on anyone unsuspecting enough to stand in its path. Now, one could easily spend an entire series delving into the depths of wrath and its implications. But for today, let's focus on one key element that often leads us down this treacherous road: anger. Anger, as author and Bible teacher Jen Wilkin points out, is a natural response to circumstances, especially when our wills are violated. It's a negative emotion, akin to fear or sorrow, but it's not inherently sinful. In fact, the Bible reminds us in Ephesians 4:26, "Be angry and do not sin." This tells us that feeling anger itself is not the issue. It's how we respond to that anger that matters. Understanding that anger is a normal human emotion created by God is important. However, in our flawed, sinful nature, we often let our emotions spiral out of control. Take, for example, the story of Cain and Abel in Genesis 4. Cain's anger is never labeled as sinful in Scripture, but the outcome of that anger led him to commit a grave sin. Now, I doubt anyone here will take such drastic actions, but it's essential to recognize how anger, when nurtured, can easily morph into wrath. As Jen Wilkin wisely says, a negative emotion can lead to harmful thinking, to harmful speech, and to harmful actions. Scripture counsels us in Colossians to put away anger, wrath, malice, slander, and obscene talk from your mouth. This directive prompts a moment of introspection. What is it that's making us so defensive? What triggers these feelings within us? By learning to identify the root causes of our anger, we can gain a better perspective and respond with maturity. This may involve stepping away from toxic relationships or reevaluating how our life experiences shape our perceptions. While we cannot control the actions of others, we can choose how we respond. Will we turn to God for guidance? Romans 12:17-21 offers profound wisdom. Repay no one evil for evil. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. It further instructs us not to seek vengeance, but to leave that to God, who has declared, "Vengeance is mine." Instead, we are called to respond to our enemies with kindness, feeding those who are hungry, giving drink to the thirsty. In doing so, we defy the cycle of wrath and choose to overcome evil with good. Wrath is insidious. It often masquerades as justified anger. In my own life, I found that my wrath always felt warranted. There was always a reason behind my rage, but I've come to recognize it as a poison that seeps into the soul, slowly eroding the heart. St. John Cassian described it as a deadly poison, and I could not agree more. It turns a Christian soul into an active volcano, ready to erupt when provoked, blocking out the light of Christ and clouding judgment. When I moved to be with my mother and sought to change my life, I noticed a gradual transformation. Love began to fall upon the scorched earth of my soul, which had been filled with fiery anger and pain. The hatred I harbored felt like magma coursing through my veins. I had allowed this deadly sin to consume me. St. John Cassian noted, no matter what provokes it, anger blinds the soul's eyes, preventing it from seeing the Sun of Righteousness. This was true for me, and I suspect it resonates with many who have been ensnared by this sin. Unchecked, wrath can lead us to the most destructive thoughts and actions, even placing our souls in danger, as warned in Matthew 5:22. So, how do we combat this sin? How do we quell the raging storm within? The first step is to uncover the root of our anger. The Jesus Prayer is a powerful tool that can help calm our souls and replace the heat of rage with a gentle warmth. It allows us to reflect on our anger and see its source. When anger tries to burn up my tabernacle, I will look to the goodness of God, said St. Hildegard of Bingen. When hatred threatens to darken our hearts, we must fix our gaze upon the mercy of Christ, who endured unimaginable suffering without retaliation. Reflecting on his passion helps us to confront our own weaknesses and find humility. With humility comes the ability to show mercy and compassion to others, which is crucial in extinguishing the fires of wrath. Remember, the spark of wrath often arises from injury, perceived or real. As St. Isaac the Syrian expressed, true mercy is marked by patience in bearing injury. If we can cultivate mercy within ourselves, we will find it easier to resist the urge to respond with wrath. In closing, I urge each of us to reflect on the nature of our anger. Instead of allowing it to fester and grow into wrath, let us seek to understand its causes and respond with grace. Let's choose humility over pride, mercy over vengeance, and allow the light of Christ to fill our hearts. Wrath may be a deadly sin, but with God's help, we can transform our anger into opportunities for love and healing. Thank you.